Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Legion Teaches History. It's been a while, but we are here. And what we're taking a look at is from the YouTube channel, Oversimplified, the Russian Revolution Part 1. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because, quite frankly, a lot of people don't understand how modern history, uh, even history from just 100 years ago, which is insane. So this channel has 8.56 million subscribers. I'm not giving him a shout out in any way, shape, or form. This dude is drastically. Um, you could combine my whole entire social media presence, and it would take me probably about a million times to get to what he has. But he has 656,000 likes, 15.1K dislikes. But this is something that we are talking about the Russian Revolution. And the reason we're talking about this is because the Russian Revolution is something that it's a cultural revolution that is a precursor to what's going on now. Many countries have had cultural revolutions. The fall of Germany after the First World War and the rise of the Nazis during the Second World War was a cultural revolution. What the United States is experiencing right now, what the UK is experiencing right now, is a cultural revolution. The Western world is experiencing this. And now look, I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't care what angle you're coming from this, you know, attacking this from. The thing is though is to have an actual educated discussion and to understand that history repeats itself and we're repeating it in the worst way. So this is a 21-minute video. There are two parts. I'm going to break these down into sections. So we're going to do 5 minutes, but this is oversimplified. And again, I'm shouting an 8.5 million subscriber channel out.
Hey Jimmy, it's the 1800s, an exciting time to be alive. Why don't you get out there and explore the world? Gee whiz, Mom, thanks. This place is amazing. Where am I? Why, you're in France, my boy. Here we come up with wacky new ways of running a country. Liberty, equality, fraternity. Whoa, welcome to the United Kingdom. Here we invented the train. Oh, aboard! Holy smokes, you're in a German factory.
I don't know how he does this animation because if I figured it out, I'd do the same thing. Like, I don't blame him. This is good stuff. And it's one of the reasons I like this channel. So
My
that
friend, here we harness fire and coal to create all these sexy lederhosen. This is incredible. I can't wait to
the sexy lederhosen. I kid.
see where I'll end up next. Where am I? You're in Russia. Have I gone back in time? No, this is just how it is. Are you a farmer? Worse. Technically, my landlord owns me, which makes me a serf. I'm scared. You should be, because I haven't eaten in 4 days, and you look pretty tasty. Hey, Jimmy, how are your travels? I hate you!
In this, again, this opening is satire. The results of it are not. Um, Cultural revolutions are not a good thing. So people who are calling for civil war in the United States or culture war in the United States, you guys are idiots. You really are. Because quite frankly, unity is what makes a country strong. We may disagree, but we need to be united because this is the greatest country in the history of the world. Are we perfect? Not even close. But we are the United States of America. Other countries wave the red, white, and blue because they believe in the foundation of this country.
Russia in the 19th century, feudal, underdeveloped, and stuck in the past. While the rest of Europe had been modernizing and improving their citizens' lives, Russia's rulers were taking a different approach. My lord, we're falling behind the rest of Europe. It's time to industrialize, give the people rights, and share your power. Russian czars had no time for pathetic ideas like liberty and modernization because they were too busy having.
And again, this is satire to tell a story about history. Nobody pulled out an RPG-7 for this.
The time of their lives. While the serfs were breaking their backs in the fields, the czars.
Well, and this is how the world has always worked, right? The United States was the first one to step outside that bubble and say, no, it's liberty, freedom for all. And did we make good on that promise in the beginning? No, we didn't. It's a different story, talking about slavery, which again, the whole entire world has indulged in slavery, not just the United States. So get that out of your mind now. The United States is not the only one who had slaves. And quite frankly, if you're angry about slavery, there's slaves in today's world, roughly about somewhere in the neighborhood of 29 to 30 million on this planet right now.
Held all the power, and they didn't have to listen to anyone. Want to run the country like a backwards feudal kingdom while the rest of Europe outpaces you militarily and economically? Go right ahead. Want to keep the people uneducated so they don't get any ideas? There's no one to stop you. Want to keep exporting grain even when there's a massive famine causing hundreds of thousands to die? That is your God-given right. While all of this was great for the Tsar, if you were literally anybody else, it probably sucked because Russia was falling behind. If they were to keep up with Europe, they'd need a strong.
And it wasn't modern day Russia, by the way. It wasn't modern day Russia. I mean, look at this map. This is not modern day Russia. This is not even close. It's there you go.
Causing hundreds of thousands to die? That is your God-given right. While all of this was great for the Tsar, if you were literally anybody else, it probably sucked because Russia was falling behind.
Look at that. This was all of Russia, Eastern Europe, down into close to the Middle East. Literally, I mean, this is a massive swath of land. Probably one of the biggest empires in the history of the world. And yes, it was an empire. It was an empire. Empires don't necessarily do that great. Remember the Roman Empire? I.e., by the end of it, the majority of citizens, roughly I believe somewhere in the neighborhood of about 68% of citizens were on welfare. So yes, this is kind of a call to modern day. Welfare for people is great for people who need help in the meantime. But you got to get a job. You got to get back out there and get pumping. You got to contribute. You can't just suck from the system because empires fail. And yes, we call it a republic. But guess what? Rome was a republic too. At its height.
If they were to keep up with Europe, they'd need a strong ruler with some big ideas. Oh look, here comes one now. Hey everyone, it's me, Tsar Alexander II, and I've got some big news. I'm releasing you all from your serfdom. You're all free.
Yes!
Yep.
That sounds like my cheerboard. 8.5 million subscribers, and he steals my cheerboard, my cheer soundboard. I kid, by the way.
I'm the best. Oh, there is one thing though. I spoke to your local lords and they weren't happy about losing all their free labor. So as a compromise, you're all gonna have to pay them back a near impossible amount of money for the next 49 years. Expect your lives to barely change. Okay, bye. Now I know what you're thinking. This Tsar Alexander II seems like a pretty cool guy. He's trying to reform the country and get Russia on the right path. Everyone must love this guy, right? Wrong. Why does one man get to decide the fate of everyone in the country? This whole system is dumb. Somebody should do something. Like what? Like kill the Tsar. You're gonna kill the Tsar? Well, me? No. I'm busy. I was kind of hoping you'd do it. Okay. See? The people love me. They're throwing flowers, confetti, and high-grade explosives. Okay, Nicholas, your grandfather has a mild case of being blown up by a terrorist, and he's not looking too hot. So we're gonna go say our goodbyes, okay? No, it'll be too scary for him. Nonsense, it won't be scary at all. We're just gonna say a quick goodbye. Ready? Boy, look at me. The people did this to me. And one day, they'll do it to you! See? Wasn't scary at all. So Alexander II...
It's just like a South Park parody. I see why he has 8.5 million subscribers. It's taking satirical liberty, which is funny.
was dead. But luckily, they had another Alexander lying around. Alexander III. And he felt his dad's reforms had weakened the Tsar's authority. Russia was massive, and as a result, had many ethnic minorities. Non-Russians...
Yes, indeed, if it did need it. Let's get back to that.
As a result, had many ethnic minorities.
All right, so this is something that would be actually great to look at right now. All right. So you have you have the Poles, Belarusians, the Ukrainians. Look, the Georgians, the Armenians, the Turkmens, the Kazakhs, the Tatars. Like look at all these things that literally fall under Buryats, modern day Beirut, by the way. Yeah, so it's look at it. Look at this. It's literally something that, quite frankly, it's shaped the modern world in a lot of ways. It failed spectacularly. It really did. The Soviet Union forming lost a decent chunk of this, but we'll get there.
Minorities. Non-Russians? More interested in their own cultural heritage than in loving me? Isn't it great? So much beautiful culture and diversity in our great nation. Alexander thought all these minorities
With the rocket launcher.
should be a little more Russian, and thereby loyal to him. So he repressed religious minorities. He repressed non-Russians. He introduced the Okhrana, a secret police force that repressed anybody who thought having a Tsar was...
And look, this is not saying that this was done right. The Russian Empire did not do this right. It's why it started a cultural revolution.
Was dumb. If Alexander II was the great reformer, Alexander III was the great repressor. Now that's how you run a country. Hey, Dad? Ugh, great. It's my son Nicholas, who I like to call a girly girl because he's so weak and pathetic. When are you gonna grow up? You still look like a girly girl to me. But Dad, I grew a beard. Yeah, an ugly girly girl beard. If Nicholas was to one day be Tsar, he needed his dad to teach him how to run the country. But his dad instead suggested that Nicholas go somewhere else. So Nicholas went to Japan, got an edgy dragon tattoo, had his head sliced off by a policeman, and then came home. Now will you teach me how to rule? I suppose it's time. Okay, there's a lot you need to know before becoming Tsar. Uh-oh. What? I've got kidney inflammation.
Shit. Sorry for the language on this channel. We're gonna leave it right here. I'm not joking. This is so funny. And look, it's telling things in a different and interesting way that I loved history. I really did. It was my favorite subject as a kid. I couldn't get enough of reading about certain things. But this is something that speeds it up for people. So that being said, thank you so much for being here. Shout out to all of you guys, seriously. And oversimplified for stealing my Soundboard applause. With that being said, seriously, I kid. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you so feel like it. And we'll see you next time. See ya.